Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network, as we put the finishing touches on Wild Card Weekend. And remember now, from now until January 15th, Bet Rivers is giving you a $10 bonus bet to use on any plus money parlay or bet. Enter the bonus code Francesa26, that's Francesa26, in your Bet Rivers app, and you'll instantly get $10 to use on a wager of plus 100 or longer odds. That code again is Francesa26 to use on the wager. Go to your Bet Rivers app and claim your bonus bet before January the 15th. Must be 21. Eligible customers only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So we finally have our matchups for the divisional playoff weekend. Wild card weekend is over. It was an historic one in terms of classic finishes, fourth quarter lead changes, game-winning touchdowns. When you realize that the Bills won with less than a minute on the clock, the Rams won with less than a minute on the clock. There was some, and obviously what went on with Philly. There was some really terrific games, and we have some good matchups. And let me say this. I thought there was a good chance, or at least a modest. I don't like the Houston offense. I thought there was a chance that Houston could self-destruct offensively tonight. They did. Stroud did. I mean, 2 bad fumbles, a bad interception, but Kirk comes up out of nowhere. I mean, he had never had more than 54 yards this year. He overcomes the loss of Nico Collins, who might not play next week. We'll have to see. He's in the concussion protocol. That's a big issue going to the Pats. The Texans had trouble running the ball all year. Chubb was not Chubb. Marks was okay at times, but nothing special. Marks gets a 100-yard game tonight. And let's be honest, the game was right there. You're waiting for a Rodgers miracle. You know, make a play to Metcalf, make a play to Thielen, make a play to Gainwell, make a play somewhere. And then finally he gets hit one too many times. He gets sandwiched, loses the ball. They get their strip sack and get their touchdown and break the game open. And then obviously it was over. I see since then Rodgers, I wouldn't even have put Rodgers back in the game at that point. When you have a team just teeing off like that and an offensive line that has completely stopped playing, I wouldn't have put him back in. I know that he threw an interception and they ran it back for a touchdown. Who cares? I mean, really, I mean, it might be the last play of Rodgers' career, but who cares? You know, it didn't matter. Once they had the turnover, that gave them the 17-6 lead. And it was a miracle they were still in the game at 10-6. It didn't matter. Like I said, I knew he was coming back in after the touchdown, and I said I wouldn't even put him back in when I was coming down here because I said either he's going to get sacked and hurt or he's going to throw an interception. And he threw the interception for a touchdown. And that's the way you'll remember Rodgers. I would think this is Rodgers' last game. Obviously, we'll see him doing something somewhere, TV or whatever. We'll also see him in the Hall of Fame in 5 years. You know, he had his moments tonight. Metcalf, when he dropped that ball in the first half when they were up 3-0, that was a killer. They had to play perfect offensively, and they didn't. And their offensive line in the second half just got overrun. I mean, overrun. When you have guards who are getting pushed right through the guard, right into the quarterback, and then you got Anderson coming from the other side, and you got Hunter coming from the other side. I mean, they got a great pass rush. Listen, they're a legitimately terrific defense. I just don't like their offensive mentality. I don't like their offensive coaching. I like D'Amico. I've always liked D'Amico. I like D'Amico as a player. I've always liked D'Amico. I know him. He's a good, solid coach. I don't like their offensive coaching at all. But their defense is terrific. Their pass rush is great because, hey, when you can rush 4 guys and get to the quarterback, you are giving your defense a great chance. Plus, they have a great secondary. They got a good linebackers. They're good in all 3 levels of the defense. and they're gonna give the Pats fits. Now, the Pats might rough them up too, and it might be a real ugly game like last night's was, and I think you got a good chance that that game is not a pretty game again. But somebody's gonna come out of there, you know, go into the AFC title game, and I tell you, I think Houston has a better chance to win if Collins is healthy than New England does. I don't think New England's ready for this. I don't think they played well last night. They played well defensively, but let's be honest, the Chargers were pitiful. And tonight, the Steelers were pitiful. They couldn't run the ball. They were trying to find a way for Rodgers to get the ball off. They made a couple of catches downfield, but it was not easy. And the better team won and late turned the close game into an assault. And right now it's 30-6, which doesn't matter. Who cares? It could have been 7-6. They were not going to score another point the way it was going anyway. So Pittsburgh, what does it mean for Rodgers? Probably retirement. What does it mean for Tomlin? I don't know. A lot of people think Tomlin wants to take a year off and go to TV. I don't know if that's true or not. With all the craziness going on with the coaches now, we'll have to wait and see how this all unfolds. If he leaves and he doesn't want to work right away, and the Pittsburgh job is open, first of all, the Pittsburgh job is a job where they hire guys for keeps. Number two, all of a sudden, this thing gets chaotic. This has turned into a wild year with coaching, and we'll get to that in the next couple of days. As a matter of fact, we'll do emails tomorrow because we got a lot going on. We got baseball, we have golf with Koepka coming back, and maybe Rahm and Cameron Smith and DeChambeau coming back. They're giving those guys a chance to come back now, which is the right thing because the PGA needs them in the worst way. They just have to be forgiving and take their pounds of flesh and then move on. Koepka really wanted to come back, and he's back. The other guys have a chance to come back. I know that Rahm does, I know that DeChambeau does, and I know that Cameron Smith does. They want to bring those big names back. So we got that. We got Bellinger. We got Yankee Met stuff. We got all the stuff with Harbaugh. I got all the coaching stuff. So we'll get all to that, and we'll be very busy with that all week this week as we head towards Wild Card Weekend. I'm sure you know the matchups already. Buffalo at Denver on Saturday at 4. San Francisco at Seattle at 8. Rams and Bears, which, hey, I mean, I know you can't wait. The Rams and the Bears is going to be great. I mean, the Bears have become so much fun. Whether you hate Ben Johnson or not, whether you like Caleb Williams or not, the Bears have become a lot of fun. They really have. So Rams and Bears, and then Texans and Pats, and what is going to be a rugged, tough, punch in the mouth defensive game. I don't think, and that's the late game Sunday. So that's where we are right now. The Bills are favored over Denver. Hey, they have Josh Allen. That's why they're favored. I mean, are you surprised? Buffalo's a 1-point favorite. I know it's a 1 seed home, but you know what? They're not the most legitimate 1 seed. They're 1 seed that's a little wet behind the ears. Sean will have them ready, and he'll be very aggressive. You know that. Then you have Seattle as a 7-point favorite, and that line is climbing with the San Francisco injuries. Now the Kittle injury. San Francisco's problems. Seattle having rest. Seattle with the running game, with Sam, with their defense. A lot of people think Seattle is on its way to the Super Bowl. I still am sticking with the Rams and the Bills, which is what I picked before the playoffs started. I picked Ravens before the season started. I picked Bills before the playoffs started. Now, I'm going with the quarterbacks. That's what the plan was. And I'll tell you, though, a lot of unhappiness around the league after that 10-yard push with Allen yesterday. There was a lot of unhappy people who were like, this is not football. He basically got carried 9 yards to the 1-yard line. We didn't want to see that anymore. So I don't know what that's going to mean, but that's something for the competition committee in March. Let that unfold when it does. So Seattle's a 7-point favorite. Rams are 4-point favorite over the Bears. A lot of people don't believe in the Bears yet, but here's the one thing. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. If the Rams allow the Bears to hang around and that game is close, I don't know what hang around means when they came back from 11 points down with 6 minutes left. And they were down 18 at half, and they were down 11 with 6 minutes left and came back and won the game as it is. It's going to be a fun game. I think the Rams are the better team, but if the Bears won, would I be shocked? No. Stafford's finger is okay. Allen says his finger is okay. There's a lot of rumors about Allen's foot injury, but hey, you know what? You see him in the end zone. You see him playing all the time. You see him making plays all the time. Enough with the injuries. If he's out there, he's out there, and he's out there. So, and you know he's going to be out there. So, with that being the case, they haven't put a lineup yet on the Pats and Texans. I think it's going to be very close to pick 'em, the game. I would think Pats are home. I would think it'd be close to, maybe a 1-point game. Might lead, might go back and forth one way. Houston is legitimate. Their defense is tremendous. I don't love their offense. I really don't. And tonight they got it from guys. They got it from the running game. And before the game, if you had asked me whether they were going to run the ball on the Steelers, I didn't think they would. And that was the biggest shock to me in the game. But they didn't take advantage of that. What happened was eventually they wore them down with the pass rush. And that was it. And when they scored the touchdown, well, good night, the lights. Plus, on 3rd and 15, after they snapped the ball almost past Stroud, that play to Kirk. I mean, Kirk made 3 humongous plays that were over 35 yards in this game. All of them were backbreakers. All 3 of them. And he wound up with 144 yards of offense. I mean, that's a heck of a performance on his part. 144 yards of offense. 8 for 144. Marks 19 for 112. He had never had 100 yards in a game. He had 112. Chubb threw in. They got 164 yards rushing tonight, and they outgained the Steelers 408 to 175. And if it's Aaron's last game, and it probably is, 17 for 33, 1 interception, 4 sacks, no touchdown passes. It's a rough last game. Hey, if you go out in the playoffs and you're 40-something years old and you're losing, you're going out with ugly stats. That's all there is to it, because you're going to meet up with a team that's going to knock you around. They couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball for 60 yards, and a couple of those yards was cosmetic. Let's be honest. The better team won, and Houston pushed them all over the building in the second half. All over the building. Third quarter, Steelers had their chances. They had their opportunities. But fourth quarter, they got pushed all over the building. They got pushed in every way you can get beat up. They got beat up. And that's why the game turned into a complete rout with a, with a big 23-point fourth quarter. That's what happens. I mean, they just completely took over the game. Give them credit. They deserved it. And they go on to a win. I know the Steelers fans were booing. They want a playoff win. They were hoping some Aaron Rodgers magic tonight. Wasn't to be. The pass rush was just too much. Plus, hey, you need guys to make plays. Now, Rodgers was unhappy about routes that Austin was running. He was unhappy with, obviously, the Metcalf drop. He was unhappy with some blocks by the offensive line. Steelers don't have great offensive personnel. They needed these guys to play great tonight. They needed some heroic plays, like from Freiermuth or from Thielen. They got an okay play from those guys. They needed this a lot. They didn't get it, and they got their rear ends kicked in the second half and shut out 23-0. And the better team won. They make up the better matchup next week. So the Texans and the Pats uh, will meet up in the last game, and we're going to have some. You know what? We're going to have some new faces. You're going to have the Rams or the Bears or Seattle or San Francisco in a. Now San Francisco's been there. Maybe this is the year Josh finally gets there. Does he finally get to the Super Bowl this year? He's got the first one under his belt. Will he win in Denver? Do I think it'll be easy? No. Do I think they are the better team? I think it's the same situation again. And that is that if that game's tight late, you want Knicks, you want Josh Allen. I mean, come on. You expect Josh Allen to make the play. Now, you want Stafford, you want Williams. Williams has become like a, like a cult figure already with what he does late in these games. He's becoming like a magic man. So, yeah, you're happy to have him. He made some throws. The throw he made to Adunzi was unbelievable. And I don't remember ever. There was a game with the Eagles in the playoffs in the 80s with Keith Jackson, the tight end, not the broadcaster, the tight end from Oklahoma. Played for the Eagles. And he had a huge playoff game. I think it was against Washington, if I remember the top. It was either against the Bears or it was against Washington, but I think it was against Washington. But when you have a guy who has become such a favorite target for a quarterback as a rookie and have a tight end who gets targeted 15 times in a playoff game and catches 10 balls for 10 catches targeted 15 times in a playoff game. Outrageous stuff. And he made some plays. They had 320 some odd yards of offense in the second half of that game. That's 600 plus for the game. How is that possible? In a playoff game against a good defense. I know they're beat up, but still, it's 300 and something. On 8 plays, he had some astronomical amount of yardage on 8 plays at one point. I mean, it's crazy stuff you saw there. So if you have Stafford throw into Nakua or Adams, and then you turn around and you got Caleb Williams throw into his guys, we could have one of the great shootouts. And then we're headed for defense with the Texans and the Pats. I would be surprised if we don't get it there. And I think we're going to get a good amount of offense with San Francisco and Seattle, because I don't think Seattle can. I don't think San Francisco can stop anybody, but I think they can score on everybody. And Buffalo, Denver could go either way. I think there'll be points scored because I don't think the Bills are great defensively. I think Denver can have their moments offensively, but I figure that when the game's on the line, Josh Allen's going to find a way to win it. A lot of people think wild card. I think that divisional playoff weekend's the best weekend because you have the 1 seeds in, and that the feeling is you have the best collection of teams for that year. This is the week to appreciate the doubleheaders on Saturday, the doubleheaders on Sunday, because once Sunday night comes, you're looking at 3 games for the season. That's it. It dwindles down to a precious few very, 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 very quickly. And you could see some matchups that could you imagine a Buffalo Bears Super Bowl? Oof. Marquee value. Buffalo Rams is sweet. I think Buffalo makes the marquee value. I mean, having Josh finally get his chance to get there and maybe win it. that would make this year kind of special. So we'll see how it happens. We got a lot to do this week. As we said, it's a very busy sports week. There's plenty of baseball out there that still has to be done. Plenty of people that still have to be signed. A lot of things that still have to be figured out. We got the golf to deal with. We have all kinds of coaching stuff everywhere. So we'll see plenty of you guys this week. So stay tuned, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.